Hi guys! So today I will be sharing something a little different. I want to share with you guys how you can make a multi-course Japanese meal in 30 minutes. And I love sharing recipes from scratch and I will do that. I will continue to do that. But realistically, I don't cook from scratch all the time. I take a lot of shortcuts, especially on weekdays, so I can make time for other stuff as well. We're going to be making Takikomi gohan, we're going to make a charred lotus root with shiitake mushrooms, and we're gonna make like a spinach, a blanched spinach salad, I guess you could call it. I hope you guys find this one really useful, and if you guys like this video, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up below. Let's get started. I'm going to make the Takikomi gohan first since it will take the longest to cook, and while the rice is cooking, I can also cook the other dishes. So the time right now is about 2:13. Let's see if we can get this ready pretty fast, okay? I'm going to start by rehydrating the Hijiki seaweed. I'm going to add a little bit of water and set it aside. Now I'm going to peel and cut my carrots into matchsticks. Now, I know I said I was going to use shiitake mushrooms in my intro, but I opened the fridge, saw these shimeji mushrooms, and then decided that I was going to use these instead. I'm going to cut the roots off and separate the mushrooms from each other. There is a lot of mushrooms here, so I'm going to use half for the gohan and the other half for the lotus roots. And as you can see, I'm just going in with my hands and separating them from each other. Now that the vegetables are prepped, let's get the rice ready. After rinsing the rice with water a few times, I filled it with the amount that I needed to cook the rice with. Now we're going to assemble the Takikomi gohan. I don't have any dashi at the moment, so I'll be using dashi granules instead. Give it a good stir so it's all dissolved, and then we're gonna add in sake, mirin, and soy sauce. So here I have defrosted some chicken that I had previously cut and frozen. And this is key because I have saved so much time by having this chicken ready beforehand. I usually cut up and freeze any extra chicken I may have while making a dish, and it always comes in handy in times like this. Next, add in the mushrooms, carrots, and then bring it over to the rice cooker. I almost forgot to add the hijiki, so I'm going to add them in. Then shut the lid and let the rice cooker do the work for you. Next, I'm going to get some water boiling to blanch my spinach. Add a little bit of salt, and while that's coming up to a boil, I'm going to rinse and clean the spinach. Now get a bowl of ice water ready so that we can stop the cooking process after you blanch the spinach. Since the water hasn't started boiling yet, I'm going to get my lotus root sauce ready. The sauce is made up of mirin, rice vinegar, soy sauce, oyster sauce, and sugar. The water has finally started to boil, so let's blanch our spinach for about 30 seconds and then dunk it in the ice water. Now while the spinach is cooling down, we can start working on our lotus dish. This is the part where you have to go a little overdrive on multitasking. We're going to finish up the spinach while the lotus root is cooking as well. To save on time, I'm using packaged lotus roots that have already been pre-cut. I'm going to use less than half of this and store the rest of it. Next, we're going to get the pan ready, and while we wait for the pan to get up to temperature, we have just enough time to drain and squeeze the water out from our spinach. Our pan should be hot by now, so I'm going to add in the lotus root. I am going to try and fit as many lotus roots as I can into this small pan. The lotus roots need to brown on one side, and then we're going to flip it over. So right after this, my camera actually died and I had to switch over to the iPhone camera, so I'm sorry if there's a drop in the quality of the video. The lotus roots are going to take a few minutes to get charred. In the meantime, we can finish making our spinach dish. I'm using a sesame dressing that I found at the Japanese market. You definitely have time to make a gomae dressing from scratch while the lotus root is cooking, but the store-bought one is a great lazy day shortcut. Now let's finish our lotus root dish. Flip them over and add the remaining shimeji mushrooms on top. When the mushrooms have softened, add half the sauce mixture in. Move the roots around to make sure that they are touching the pan, then after a minute or so, flip the roots over. When the sauce has evaporated, turn up the heat and add the remainder of the sauce. Allow the sauce to evaporate again and your lotus root should end up charred like this. Our dish is now ready and we can plate it. So it's actually 3 p.m. right now, so it took me about 45 minutes and it took longer for me because I had to like move the camera around, move the tripod around, and I had all of that stuff going on. But essentially you should be able to do this within 30 to 45 minutes, and the more you do it, the faster you'll get at it. So the rice is now ready and we're going to, I've plated all the dishes and we're going to eat. Now the amount of time the rice takes to cook really depends on how much rice you're making. The more rice you make, the longer it will take, and you might finish the other dishes way before the rice is done cooking. So this is actually our everyday setup. We eat at our coffee table and watch TV. So that brings us to the end of this video. Please comment below and let me know if you found it useful and if there's anything I can do to make it better. I would love to hear from you all. I'll see you guys next week. Good luck in the kitchen and enjoy!